So we've got a visitor to the mushroom farm today. It's Neil the Mushroom Savage.
I'm delighted to be here.
We're excited to have you here. I'm just wanting to touch base with you because you've been doing some interesting things, I hear, with wine cap mushrooms.
Yeah, well, I have a booth at the farmer's market, and I sell fresh mushrooms, and I need volume. Bottom line, I need volume. So you can't really make any money off of one block, right?
Yep.
So what I do is I expand it greatly. I've been buying your blocks for the last, 3 years, I think,
Yep.
the wine caps. And this year I've just gone to town because I learned a technique and I've learned how to use it, and I've got the room, I got the time, it's all great. So what I do to expand my wine caps is I get 2 of those big blue bins, and I get some aspen chips. Now, aspen chips, you can get them in the pet store. They use them for gerbil bedding and so on. You can get a big bale for about $30.
Oh yeah.
But you need a fair bit of them. I've used 3 bags so far this year because I went to town.
Yeah.
And what you do is you get your aspen chips in one of those blue bins, and then you soak them with water that's been treated with hydrated lime. And what that does is it raises the pH through the roof, kills anything that's in there, and then it goes back to normal after a few days. So you leave that in your bin for, say, 2-3 days, and then drain off some of the water, and you got 2 bins with holes drilled in the bottom for drainage, and you put a layer of the soaked aspen chips. You squeeze them out, but then you put them down on the bottom, and then a layer of cardboard, a layer of the mushroom, mycelium, and then another layer of cardboard, and then another layer of aspen chips. And you do this 3 high in the bin.
Like a lasagna.
Like a lasagna, a great way to put it. And the mushroom just loves cardboard. It just gobbles it up. And then you just leave it. You make sure the top's not sealed so that it gets some air, a little bit of air in there. And you just leave it for 2 months. So I usually get my mycelium in late January, maybe early February. I do this and I just leave it for 2 months. Don't even look at it. Just forget it's there. And then when it's time, when it gets warm enough, you can take each layer of cardboard, and it's just white with mycelium. It's actually quite lovely that way.
Isn't that cool to see the
marvelous.
mycelium spreading?
Yeah. And so from those 2 kits, I've now got 11 big bins like this.
Wow.
And 6 of the blue bins as well, all with a layer of the mycelium on top of the chips. So you put the chips in, just ordinary chips. They don't have to treat these ones. And then a layer of your cardboard with some of the chips from the culture, and then cover it with a layer of dirt to keep the moisture in. And then, once again, you just wait. And you know how it is with mushrooms, right? There's no mushrooms, there's no mushrooms, there's no mushrooms. Holy crap, look at all the mushrooms.
Yeah, if you go away for a couple weeks, you come back, they might have already made mushrooms on you.
Yeah, and it's I'm really excited because this is orders of magnitude bigger than I've done in the past, and I think it's going to be a really good year.
Oh, it sounds like so much fun. Wine caps are beautiful, and I know my neighbor, she says this is the best mushroom I've ever tasted, so
and
she's
they sell,
loving them.
Bottom line, people love them.
Yeah.
Right? Cook them up with a little bit of slice them up, put a little bit of butter in the pan, a little bit of garlic, maybe a splash of white wine, a dash of soy sauce, and you're good to go.
Yum. I've boiled them down when I've had a huge abundance. I've boiled them down and used them as a soup broth. They were delicious that way.
Nice.
Yeah. So I really enjoy the wine caps. You expanded them outside in containers in the wintertime.
No, I had the containers actually in my bedroom.
Oh, okay.
All
So
winter.
okay. So that's what I was wondering, because I know on Vancouver Island you can actually get away with a lot in the winter here. but in other parts of Canada, it's way too cold for it to grow in the winter. But so that's something you can do in the winter time is expand your wine cap into more sawdust in your basement, in a container, or in your bedroom, and wherever you've got some room. And then come the springtime, you'll have loads more wine cap to plant out into your garden or into more containers.
Yeah, I was actually quite happy to get them out of my bedroom, to be honest.
I know I've had mushroom kits like in my bathtub, keeping them moist, humidity. You do what you got to do.
Yeah, it's okay if you live by yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. Aside from outdoors, where do you grow your mushrooms? And your bedroom?
Well, I've got a garden shed, one of those green metal sheds.
Yep.
10 by 10. And I've got a couple of humidifiers in there, as well as a heater. And I put a sheet of plastic with a hole in the bottom that over the door, so that I can have light, air, and really, really high humidity.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that's going to work. I've got 25 5-gallon buckets in there, which is pretty much capacity at this point. What I'm thinking of doing is taking any that aren't fruiting and putting them outside in the shade until they start to fruit, because I got really enthused this spring.
Yeah, you can do all sorts of really simple setups to, like, it's just those key ingredients. You've got to have a bit of light. Remember the very first time you said mushrooms grow in the dark. Well, the mycelium does grow in the dark, but when the mushrooms fruit, they require a little bit of ambient light. And very importantly, they're also sensing the oxygen. The air exchange is important, and flushing out the carbon dioxide that they breathe out. But the key piece is high humidity. That's like mushrooms like it really damp and rainy. So having easy ways to humidify. I mean, it can be as simple as having a shelf that I do that. I have a shelf and I drape plastic over it, leave it open a little bit in the sides for the air exchange. Then I'll just take a hose and spray in there, spray the walls of the plastic, and so that's a pretty in the shade, because you don't want the sun beating on it and heating the kits up too high and drying it out. So yeah, just really simple setups. Mushroom growers are always super creative, so I'm looking forward to seeing pictures of your operation as well.
I will send them ASAP. That's one thing I really enjoy about this, is it gives me problems I have to solve.
Yes.
Right? At no shortage of. And it's very satisfying when something works.
It is. And when it doesn't work, it's an opportunity to figure it out and to learn from it and then grow better next time.
That's a very positive way of looking at it.
So what do you do if you have leftover mushrooms after the market?
Well, that's always been a question. I certainly don't want to waste them. I put a lot of time and effort into it. So what I've learned to do, and this works really, really well, is I dry them, cornflake crisp, like give them a couple days in the dehydrator so they're absolutely dry. And then I put them in the blender with a little bit of sea salt, a little bit of thyme, a little bit of black pepper, and some red pepper flakes.
Nice.
And just a little bit, right? And then grind them up so it's just a powder, and sell them as spice, and they just fly off the shelf. So even the least popular mushrooms are popular as spice.
Cool. What a great idea.
Well, I try and diversify my product line as much as possible. I mean, I started out just selling dried chanterelles.
Ooh, wild harvested mushrooms.
Yeah, and now it's just gone.
Nice.
I've got so many different products, teas, spices, fresh, dried. Yeah, it's great.
That's basically the trajectory that started me too, was harvesting wild chanterelles. That's what got me into wild mushrooms, and then, I can grow mushrooms, and led me down this path.
Yeah, well, Mushroom Savage is all about wild mushrooms, right?
Yes.
And bottom line, there's dead periods in the summer where it's not ready for the chanterelles and the various, other fall species.
Right.
They say for people like me, there's only 2 seasons. There's fall and there's waiting for fall. And that's certainly the case to a large degree. So what am I going to do? during the rest of the year. And then somehow I ran into you. I'm not sure exactly how, but you were in Arrington
It
at
was
the
the
time.
mushroom festival we were running.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I clued in that, okay, during the dead times I can sell harvest or grown mushrooms. I
Yeah.
can grow mushrooms myself, and it's been a long and slow learning curve for me, but I've come an awfully long way,
Yeah.
and now it's almost like the wild product, you know, the cauliflower and the lobster and the chanterelle and the oysters and, oh, I don't know, hedgehogs, etc., that I pick wild are almost supplementing the grown mushrooms, which have become the main sort of source of income
Yeah.
at the market. And I guess,
Harvesting wild mushrooms is dependent on the seasons and also on if the rains come, how much abundance you're going to have.
oh
But you
yeah,
have more control if you're growing mushrooms yourselves. You can make sure they're watered and have more production.
well, I think humanity as a whole learned that lesson about 5,000 years ago,
That's
right?
right. Yeah.
So I'm a little behind the
You're
times.
working with nature there.
But I have caught up. I am now a hunter-gatherer who has discovered agriculture.
Fantastic. And bringing that to the joy of community at the farmers markets.
Oh, I have so much fun. I've got a million lines, and you know what? At a farmer's market, you can tell the same joke 100 times, and it's always fresh. And
Wonderful. Yeah, we'll bring a big smile to people's face. That's an important part, as well as fresh, nutritious, delicious mushrooms.
Well, I was looking after my mother for 11 years. She was very elderly. She passed away last March at 100 and a half. You count the halves at that age.
Of course.
And the farmers market was a great way, quite apart from anything else, was a great way to have some social interaction. And I could have a conversation with someone and I wouldn't have to say everything twice. I wouldn't have to say everything twice.
And louder. Oh, that's wonderful. So yeah, farmers markets are a fantastic part of community, and more people growing food for their community is something that we'd like to encourage. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge about how to take one block of mushroom spawn and expand it into buckets of substrate and grow a whole pile more mushrooms that you can then sell and feed your community with. It's been wonderful having you here.
Well, it's been a delight.
Yeah. I hope you have a wonderful, abundant season this year.
Thank you.